So, hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Real Talk for Coaches. And actually, this is our last episode for the season, and we'll be returning again in September. And I'm really excited about this particular topic. We're going to be talking about why we need to stop trying to achieve happiness. And I know that sounds like an entirely crazy, contradictory message because all of us have been programmed and wired to be happy, to try to find happiness. And we're going to kind of talk about that. And I am going to try to dispel some myths and disrupt that coding so that we can see happiness in a whole entire new way. And I'm really excited to have these two guests on. Tasha, she is Tasha Jones. She is a social worker and she's going to give her perspective. And we have Christopher, who is a mental skills coach. So I have two amazing people who will probably tell us a thing or two about what it means to be happy. So before we get into the topic, I do have a little bit of house cleaning to do. So as you guys know, we have the Virtual Coaches Conference coming up in October, which I am so excited about. So if you didn't get your tickets, please make sure you get them soon. And as you know, it's a 2-day event and we have amazing speakers that's going to be talking about things of how to affirm your day. We're going to have a discussion panel on the real ish of coaching and digging deeper with mindful coaching, as well as managing your mental monsters and much more. So make sure you visit my website, reid.com, to find out more about the virtual conference. And you can also visit our website to see all of our wonderful upcoming events that will be taking place in September, because yours truly need a vacation. So I'm not doing nothing for July and August. So okay, I cleaned house, y'all. So y'all ready for this topic? I was thinking a lot about this. I read this amazing book. Matter of fact, you see on my books, I tell you, I'm a readaholic. So I got this book called The Happiness Trap, right? If you're on the video, you'll see the book, The Happiness Trap, and it's an illustration. And it really goes into this idea of happiness and why we're stuck in. We have a misunderstanding, a misperception about what happiness is, right? And it started getting me thinking, and I'm like, yeah, when I grew up, everything was you got to be happy. You got to be happy. You got to get this job to be happy. You got to get this husband to be happy. You got to have children to be happy. You got to do this to be happy. And I'm sure you guys could chime in with this. I'm sure you heard the same things and you get some of those things and you're like, I'm not as happy as I thought I wanted to be, right?
Right.
So the first thing I'm going to ask you guys is, what do you feel happiness really is? Like, what is happiness? And why do you think we're getting this wrong?
Well, I'll start. I think happiness it's like a fleeting feeling. It's something that you constantly chase. It's like chasing your tail, once you achieve it, you want it again, right? It doesn't necessarily last forever. So if you're happy today, it doesn't automatically transfer to tomorrow. So it's, it's definitely something that you have to consciously and intentionally be working to find. And if that becomes your primary emotional driver, when you're not in those moments, you're waiting for those moments. So it's like that space in between. What do you do when you're not happy? I think, that makes it a struggle.
Oh, I like that gap between this moment I'm happy, this moment I'm not happy, and there's a gap. And like you said, what do you do? Interesting. I like that. Yeah, we're gonna peel that onion back. We're gonna definitely dive deeper in that part. What about you, Tasha? What are your thoughts?
My thought is happiness is that external thing in front of us, right? And so it's booed up with joy. Joy is that internal thing. Joy unspeakable means I am going to be okay, even though the thing outside of me, external of me, is not good. And so happiness to me is that superficial thing, right? And so I'm going to give you an example. I went from Section 8 low income housing, thinking I wanted the house with all the goodies, and end up, investing in properties, first in the family. And some days in this heat right now, my AC is off, right? And I got to cash out 4,500. It's like I wanted it. I thought it would make me happy. But you know how your grandmama and them say, a house is not a home unless you got that inner stuff.
That's right.
So like if we can't pay that water bill, we gonna be good because we can remember them project days when we had them surf sandwiches. So happiness is what the world is addicted to, right? Because each generation we deal with cannot seem to handle pain, and nobody wants to get through. We talk about no pain, no gain, but nobody wants pain, and each generation is just more and more punking out when pain hits. So if me and James don't work out, and then we look for James to make us happy. James got his own set of issues, boo-boo. Okay? So that people is on this superficial, external, outside of me happy. They will pay for it. They'll go on a cruise with it. But what is that joy unspeakable on the inside? It's free, kicking it with you every day. And this is why people are having a whole fit during the pandemic, because you are forced to quarantine with thy selfie. And I don't like thy selfie, even though I dress thy selfie up. Your girl don't want to sit with her own thoughts. And so that's, to me, what this whole, I want to be free, but it needs to be on my terms. So don't get me started on that, child, because happiness is making people rich, because unresolved self is very expensive, because I'm going to keep paying for stuff to make me externally happy and avoid this internal booger bear that's kicking it with me all day long. And I'm done with that. Come on now, Chris.
I'm cracking up because I'm like, woo. But I know. But like both of you and Christopher both are hitting on key points about it. One, it's a feeling. And that's the thing that people don't get, is that happiness is not a goal. Happiness is a feeling. And like Christopher said, it is fleeting. And like you're saying, the things that trigger the feeling is usually external. And once we get it, we're still not happy, or we're happy for a moment. Like I just got a new car. I just got a new car a couple months ago. And it was great. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, yay. But now it's a car. I don't care. It's a car. The newness wore off and get me from A to B. Don't care. Right? It's a car. And I think that we have been wired. We have been wired to believe that happiness that's outside of us is the thing that we need. And like you said, Tasha, that's the thing that keep capitalism going, because everybody love, what is it, shopping therapy? We think we buy something, we're going to be happy. So what are any stories or narratives that you were told growing up that help contribute to the idea of happiness, or what you thought it was or could be? Anybody got some?
I mean, when you say that, the first thing I think about is the idea of, go to college and get a good job, right?
Oh my God, yeah.
You'll have a happy life.
Yep.
I think that was probably, out of all the things I was told growing up, that's the one that I found out to be the most untrue. My parents had, they did a great job raising me. I mean, but I will say that narrative, that if you go to college and you can get a good job and you have a happy life, it's a fallacy. It's just not a true statement.
No, it's not at all. And I heard that same one too. Actually, I was told, don't get pregnant, graduate high school, and find a good person to be in your life, and your life will be perfect. That was told to me. Yeah. Ooh. What about you, Tasha?
I think it was the same, like Chris was saying, go to college. The bar was pretty low for us because I was the first that didn't have a baby in high school. So I was the first to get out of high school, no kiddos. And I'm just gonna keep it all the way real. This real talk, right?
Yeah, this is real talk.
So, girl,
Yeah.
they was like, girl, you get out of high school with no baby, get your Section 8 voucher. You know what I mean? I don't even think college was even pushed. It was more like get your bundle packet that comes with your food stamps, come with your no baby out of college. I mean, no baby out of high school. Bring me a diploma and get your Section 8 voucher, and you good.
Crazy, right? Crazy. And then when you find out, no matter what we were told, right? And you find out after you've gotten it, okay, that didn't make me happy. So now we're kind of stuck. And now we're still trying to strive. Okay, if I go over here, maybe eating, because a lot of people have eating addictions and eating disorders, this will make me happy. And they find out that doesn't. And so that brings me into how can we retrain ourselves to think differently about happiness?
I think the biggest lesson I learned in terms of just like retraining your mind about happiness is to separate the ideas of happiness and satisfaction.
Oh,
Just kind of like breaking those two things apart and understanding that you can get joy out of being satisfied. And satisfaction is longer lasting, whereas happiness is more, spontaneous in the moment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so when I think about satisfaction, I think about purpose and pursuing goals and building a life that I can look back on and admire the work that was done. All those things bring me satisfaction, and all those things take longer, right? It's not something that you could just do right away.
Right. It's a journey. Yeah.
It's a journey, right?
Yeah.
So when I can break that apart in terms of like what I do on a daily basis and say like, I'm going to get some satisfaction out of these things I'm doing, even though I might not be happy in the moment. And to me, that's been very fulfilling. And the clients I work with, when I help them make that connection between those two words, happiness and satisfaction, we start, peeling back the onion and making progress.
Mm-hmm. That makes a lot of sense. Tasha, you said something I thought was important, and that was happiness is internal. That joy. You didn't even use the word, and this is piggybacking off of what you were saying too, Chris, because really the terminology we're using, separating happiness and satisfaction, and also understanding, like you said, Tasha, happiness is internal. It does not matter what's going on externally. It doesn't matter how your life condition is. You can still find, as Chris said, satisfaction in something. But any other thoughts you want to share about things we can start to do to make that shift?
I would say this is a really, really good topic. Well, I'm just enjoying this because the revelation that I had, especially for you guys that are out there, you're dating or you're married, or in a serious committed relationship, or just something to consider if you start dating. So I was born and raised in Los Angeles, and the culture there in which I was raised, it was very driven and materialistic. Mm-hmm. And some people can relate to that in the various states and countries that you're from. So because mama couldn't spend that quality time, I'm going to replace it with stuff. Mm-hmm. And then when I moved a couple of miles up in Central California to a country town, I'm city girl turned country, and I'm loving it. I married my high school sweetheart, and he was rooted with old school values, like no credit card, no debt, drive that car till the wheels fall off. If you're feeling some type of way and want to feel like about it, go on and rent you a car real quick and get them people their car back. So part of the early years of our marriage, it was a lot of morals and value clashing around happiness. Interesting. Right? And so when you start to go into this space of clarity for yourself, and especially with couples, there's a journey. Yeah. You have down, like I'm a big fan of family meetings. As I started social working and doing clinical work, it sounds corny to everyone else, but you got to create norms in your family if you're going to change this pathology that we have, right? Because a lot of us believe money is going to bring me happiness.
Right.
Now, We inherited some good money from Grandpa over here. We didn't know Grandpa was sitting on 6 loan figures. He was like the Fred Sanford of the community. Oh, girl, we acted a fool when that money came down. We said, God, girl, this is before Uber. We catching buses to the law office. What's a living trust? What? So a lot of us didn't spend the money right, girl. We was dropping till we shop and everything. We thought it was gonna make us happy.
Yeah.
Ask people where that money at now, because our superficial view of what happiness was that external stuff. I'm gonna ignore the trauma and I'm gonna keep on buying the flat screen TVs. Girl, had them all in the bathroom. Girl, who have a flat screen in the bathroom, y'all? I just acted. I ain't making this stuff up. Girl, I was buying people stuff that I didn't even like. I forgot they was my enemy. I'm like, girl. But anyway, what happened is when our marriage started to have a breakdown, my husband got tired of it. We had a cell phone store, we tried that. We have a janitorial business. The money was coming in, but your girl was just used to spending on stuff because the stuff is what make your girl happy. Until finally he was like, this bankruptcy, we not doing this. He like really like kept pulled up on me like he needed to. And I said, Lord, I thank you for him because he is the one that taught me to redefine, especially through medical stuff. You start to realize, Lord, I thank you for the ability to get on here and meet Chris and Don. I thank you that I can take my own showers independent. So you end up as you go through life. And I'm telling you guys, if you out there listening and you saying, hey, I'm healthy, I got it going on, I got a 401k, AK, whatever you call it, 401k, I got my college degrees, I'm popping. Keep living, as the old folks say. Because when you can eat surf sandwiches together, and catch the bus when that transmission go out, but you don't have the $600 car payment that's bringing on another set of stress,
Yeah.
you're going to really start redefining. My happiness is not the definition of what mama say. Oh, that's an owie, because a lot of us make our parents our gods.
Yeah.
And they can be well intended, y'all.
Yeah.
But the Lord that tapped you and I on the shoulder today, it didn't say get up and do the marching orders of grandmama and them. It didn't say, do what mom and them say. You got to know that your gift and your call may be different from what you know, and you got to be okay. They called us corny over here for having family meetings. But I'm not here to get your signature anymore. That's where the breakthrough happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so happiness over here, we was watching Fred Sanford. We do not have car payments. Praise God. Thank you, Jesus. The air is what it is. We drive in old school 1996 trucks. And people have said that don't seem like the kind of car. I said, well, you want to go ahead and cash me out of car, go ahead and knock yourself out. But when you know that who you are, it does not mean, I love superficial blingy blingy. Don't get me wrong, but that's not how I vibrate and define my.
Right.
And I'm cool with it.
And that's funny you said that because a lot of us do attach happiness to money and to status and to power. And don't get me wrong, it's really great to have. Don't get me wrong. It really is great to have. I do like it. But it could go away. It's very fleeting. And one of the things that was very important to me as I made that same shift of understanding what happiness was to me, like we have the house, we have this. And like you said, I've had people go, well, you could easily live in $1 million house. Why are you living under that? I'm like, because I don't want the $1 million house payment. I want to be able, if anything should ever happen, my husband or I can do it without the other income or without the business or whatever. And the key is I'm healthy, I'm happy, I enjoy the quality time with the family, with my friends and all that good stuff, that I don't need things. I don't want a lot of things. Matter of fact, it's funny because as we're planning for our retirement, I'm like, let's just get like this little old Winnebago type of thing and just like live in it, go cross country, live off the grid, grow tomatoes. I don't care. But I just want to be like no stress, no debt, no nothing but peace of mind and be somewhere in somebody's middle of somebody's country. Like that's my mindset of happiness now, where I don't have to worry about all these other things. right? And me and my husband, oh, and I'm a fan of the family meeting. We have one every week. Yes, we do.
Yes.
Every
Amen.
week we have a family meeting. But it's just having those kinds of conversations, and I'm trying so hard to even teach my children, who are adults now, by the way, but nonetheless, trying to change their mindset and go, it's more important to be happy no matter what's going on outside of you. And if you know how to be happy, to bring happiness into, no, I love your wording, Chris, to be satisfied. I'm really resonating with that, and you already got me wanting to say the word differently now. But to be satisfied with who you are, where you're going, what you got, be happy with what you don't have. It doesn't matter. Just be satisfied, content in the moment, and learn as you're going through this journey. And so, yeah, through my journey, like yourselves, I have been rethinking how happiness is supposed to be viewed. And I do notice a lot of my clients, they do struggle with this because everything that they're doing is based upon this false concept of what happiness is supposed to be. And they can't understand why they're not happy. So, with that being said, you guys got tips, like 3 tips. What are your 3 tips that you think we could share with people to get on this path of mind shifting? Of it's not the outside, it's really starts in the inside. Oh, you got people coming in. That's all good.
I need to say, can I say something real quick, Chris?
Sure, go for it.
Not the 3, but I just need to hit on
Sure.
what Don just said about your sons and teaching them to be happy, right? Because one of the things that I do know is, we are, and you guys probably heard this before, but I like to write, and when things come out, I said, we are supposed to be human beings anyway, right? We're supposed to be a sense of being, but we're human doing,
Yes. Yes.
right? And
Yes.
another thing is that you said, I like how you said your kids are adults. It's never too late to keep learning.
Never.
Like when we start
Ever.
parenting with the information we had then,
Yep.
it's always okay to go ahead and admit when we didn't have it right.
Yep.
And
Agree.
one other thing that stood out, and this wouldn't be my 3, but I was just thinking about this for me, and for it's like with Chris being here, just reminded me that art of communication. Because when my husband and I got married, right at the wedding reception, his appendix ruptured. So he went right into emergency medical situation, right on disability,
Wow.
right? And so this whole role of what a man's supposed to be to the family, it got shifted. No choice of his own. I'm sure he didn't predict to have this happen on our wedding day,
Right.
right? And so he had a lot of assignments to himself that he's supposed to make me happy, supposed to be the provider. Here he is, right at the wedding and reception, getting sick on disability. And he had a lot of stuff going on about it because external people had this on him. Now, talking to me, I was glad that he was alive,
Right.
that he got through it. I was glad that we had medical insurance, good medical insurance to get him to the right doctor, but he didn't know how to communicate that to me. So I'm glad Chris is on here to bring perspective too for men, because a good woman is going to support you when you down, because it's 100% and 100%. So I need to just, I wanted to say that. Go ahead, Chris. I'm
No,
sorry.
thank you for sharing that. That's
I
good.
mean, you're getting into a deep topic.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess just to respond to that idea of a man being a protector and provider and how that does bring men happiness. I mean, I can't let that go without at least putting a button on it by saying that, I don't think that's going to go away for most men. And when we are in that position where we can't be a protector and provider, there is a level of introspection and a level of struggle that we go through. And I think, social workers, coaches, are therapists are the only solution in those situations, because I mean, there's mental health issues that men face specifically because they feel devalued. And I think just normalizing the idea of a man seeking a therapist, getting a coach, or, having a social worker get involved. I think all those things are the only way to resolve those type of issues, because generally, a wife telling a man that it's okay that they're not in a situation to protect and provide is not going to solve the problem, because we don't want to hear that
Right.
from a significant other. But,
Okay.
when you have that conversation with a therapist, there can be a breakthrough where you can start, making whatever changes you need to make to make you mentally healthier.
Agreed.
And
Agreed.
the other point I wanted to make is just that point about happiness and satisfaction that we keep coming back to. And I wanted to kind of relate that, I guess, to a metaphor about food. You know how when we eat ice cream or whatever, those first few bites make us happy. It's really good, whether it's a cake. And sometimes we go too far, right? Where you're satisfied, but then you go past the point of satisfaction, and it's no longer good to you, but there's something that's still triggering you to keep going. And that's just something to think about when you're making that happiness versus satisfaction in your life. It's like, think about those things, that point of satisfaction, and just being mindful of when you're there, because, what feels good to you at first, if you keep doing it, whether it's shopping or whatever, it stops feeling good at some point.
If you don't get off my toes with the ice cream, Chris, we gonna fight. Because as soon as you said it, I'm sitting there going, I so do that. I so do that. I was sitting there, oh, this is so good. And I get satisfied. I'm gonna get a little more. Oh, I'm gonna get some more. And then like an hour later, I'm like, oh my God, why did I do that?
I shouldn't have done it. Right.
So you stepped all over my toes. But you're right. You're so right. So what I'm picking out of that is a good tip is knowing when you're satisfied. Knowing when things are in a good place. No matter what you're doing, no matter what's happening, that you are in a good place, because it could be worse. Or, as you so eloquently pointed out, too much of a good thing really is a bad thing.
Right. Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. Another thing I think is a tip that I'm pulling out of all of this good stuff that you both are sharing is the mindfulness aspect. And I'm a mindfulness practitioner. So this is something that's really important to me personally as well as professionally. And that is being an observer and not holding judgment. So right now, I can say I'm satisfied with this conversation, with my guests, with everybody that's coming on, and I'm satisfied. And it's great and it's fine. And being able to let this moment go so I can make room for the next experience that I can just enjoy as it is. And even if it doesn't feel good, right? I can still tap into my own inner being and understand it's okay that it doesn't feel good. It just is. It doesn't have to. And just being mindful not to always attach a good or bad feeling or component to it.
Yes.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Sign me up.
And I want to give this quick analogy, which we just got a new puppy, right? I love my little Gizmo. I love my Gizmo. But the dog, he pees everywhere, right? That does not make me happy. I am so not satisfied. And I had to really step back and understand and put it in perspective and be mindful of what was coming up in my body. What is causing me to be unhappy? And I'm doing air quotes if you're listening and not seeing the video. And I realized is that I was getting frustrated because now I got to clean up behind the dog. And I don't understand why the dog keeps doing it. And I had to stop back and go, what's important? I love this dog. I love my puppy. And what else is important? He is funny and hilarious. And what else? So I had to start thinking about what are the things that make me satisfied in the situation? What's the inner thing that is triggering the experiences, and understanding that, okay, these other things is part of a puppy growing up, is life. Stuff happens, get over it, be with it and deal with it. And as soon as you deal with it, it's over. Like, so all of these little lessons, like, are part of the tips I would say is just learning how to be in the moment, even if it doesn't feel good, and knowing that it's temporary. Any thoughts? Because you know what? We already at 7:46. Look how quick that was. Any thoughts you guys have about that, what I just shared?
I just want to say the things that come to mind is A, know what you want to experience. That's different than what do I want. For you guys, I keep hitting on relationships because there are relationships is under attack right now.
Right.
But even relationships within yourself. What do I need to experience in this moment right now? That's the premise in which we need to flow.
I love it.
And that is going to guide how we move through the thing called life. So that would look like I need to experience added peace, added freedom. I need, more time with the people that I love. I need to experience my son who needs me to listen to him because finally he's talking, right? I need to experience what it feels like to not overcommit myself to things to keep me busy. So start with you being a professor and a PhD of your own life.
I love it.
Because when you go to these other I do telehealth, Chris. Right. You guys are all in the human suffering, if you will, and human empowerment work.
Yep.
Our job, collectively and individually, is to ask you guys the tough questions so you can answer your own stuff.
Yes.
So start right now the school of higher learning within yourself.
Yes.
What do I need to experience? Don't bring in your mom and them stuff, the daddy issues, nothing. What do you need to experience?
You want. You.
And then the second thing is giving yourself permission to change your mind. You have a right to change your mind.
Say it again.
Don't be married to things that you was doing before COVID. Don't be married to the decisions you made with James and them, or when you had, long money or short money or unemployment. Don't be married to them. You are not your mistakes. Nope. You're not the things you're going to do, but normalize this attainment addiction is an addiction. You might not do meth or crack, but your busyness is crack cocaine. I make up my own hood words. I mean, I need to just call it a thing because as a people, we're trilingual, right? We know how to speak different languages.
That's right.
So if you don't get with the polished language, I got to give it to you in a way that cuts you a little bit. Because some of us don't move unless it's painful.
It's true.
Right? And so that's why you say in those family meetings, it's saying we don't have to operate out of pain. We can be proactive here, son. Thank you for letting me know I'm spending too much time online. I know I'm trying to build a business so we could fire the primary funder, but I'm only going to be 11 one time.
That's right.
So to me, I want you fully present, Mom.
Yep.
They're not going to say it like that, especially our boys.
No.
But we have to know the signs, right? So unbusy ourselves, check into unbusy rehab. No, it's like, know what I need to experience.
Yep.
Give myself permission to change up things as they come.
And that's key. Mm-hmm.
And number 3, be okay with doing absolutely nothing in the world that rewards us to be busy. You smarter than that. We jumping on from one crisis to the next in the news. You tricking yourself all over the place, kicking the dog, the cat. You tired. You can't be happy, satisfied, joyful in a spirit of fatigue and tired. We're dealing with pandemic fatigue as it is.
That is true.
Get yourself up, enroll yourself in the school of higher learning for yourself, and understand, as handsome and as beautiful as you are where you are, that you are worthy to experience joy unspeakable. But you got to do the work. Ain't nobody finna knock that door down and pull you off that couch. We all got our own set of crazy going on.
Yes, but doesn't that tie into this idea that we expect other people to make us happy? Like, I expect someone else to do the work to bring me happiness. And it doesn't work like that. And it was funny because me and my husband say this all the time. It's like, I'm not here to make you happy. I'm here to contribute to your happiness. I'm here to lessen your suffering, right? And you're here to do that for me. But to make you happy, I'm responsible for my happiness. You're responsible for your happiness. And we put too much power in other people in a job that we're supposed to do ourselves. And I love that idea of be a PhD of your own life.
Yeah, because we might.
Oh, yeah, be the CEO of your life.
Yes, and that's the thing is, I think, like you talked about earlier, this whole social classism. So if you don't have a degree, which means that means you cool, you ain't got the extra loans. Okay,
Yeah,
because you live in the projects and you don't have the 5 bedroom house and the 3 bed. Okay, so you just don't have the extra mortgage payment. So we have social classism as a barrier of inequality. I'm not
agreed.
qualified,
I
and
agree.
when you get high off your own supply,
Mm,
that is the most toxic thing,
mm,
because that means you believe the lie. And like Chris had talked about before, some layers need and you deserve that objective support,
yes.
but you got to be willing to speak your truth, because ain't nobody like y'all. Some of us out here spoiling our kids. Girl, when we cross over, these kids going to be lost. And that's why I say, you talking about them, but you created this little booger bear. So own up to the role you played. I mean, my last one, I'm near an empty nest and he'll be 18 in 10 more days, praise the Lord. And my black male. And Lord have mercy, the fears for a male child versus a woman, I have more respect for our men now. But the point is, I had to do some shifting because our neighbor homeboy, he got it going on. My first set of kids like mama, but at the same token, y'all, we are not wired to get up and try to work on moving pieces all day long.
Yeah,
At some point, we got to learn how to chill so we can heal and show up in our world.
I love
Like I'm not finna think about heavy stuff all day. I'm finna kick it, listen to my oldies. Okay, I'm gonna be a hot mess today. Tomorrow I might want to work on something. But the world is feeding you the hype that you got to be on this cycle of fixing stuff.
all the time.
Oh, girl,
All the
please.
time.
And like my daddy say, the same people that sell the panic sell the pill. How many people y'all know out there taking a pill to be happy, a pill to be sad, a pill because you broke up with Shirley, a pill because your EDD didn't come, a pill because the supervisor made, the kids on melatonin because they're getting on your nerves. So we got to be real clear about this and pull it together for ourselves.
Mm.
Because if you working against yourself and thinking, people could take your money all day long and you could sit in that leather chair. But if you're not willing to do the work, and it's a lot of unethical people. Run me that 200 an hour. I'll sit there and let you go home and be a hot mess. But see, people that's doing it right, I'm going to tell you right now while y'all listening, hit the replay as much as you need to. Listen to Don and Chris and my crazy self over here. Get to work.
Get to work.
Get it cracking. Quit making excuses and get your behind up. Because ain't no need to be celebrating Juneteenth and the freedom. I worked in the prison system, baby. They more free in there, some of them, than we are out here physically free, because it's the mindset.
It's the state of mind. I was getting ready to say it's a state of mind. It's a state of mind.
You are it's a whole worthiness project. Girl, we got to do a part 2 and 3
Right,
on this.
I know. I'm like, oh God, we get to the hour, y'all. That's how I knew this was going to be a good one. I knew this was a good one. I did. But what did I say? This was real talk.
Real talk.
This is real talk.
Real talk. Girl, we ain't got it no other way. Girl, please.
This was, look, I can't thank you and Chris. And Chris, thank you for jumping right in. I appreciate you so much. And believe me, I'm going to make sure I give credit where credit is due. Chris was not scheduled to be an official guest, but he jumped right in like he belonged part of this conversation, because guess what? He belonged part of this conversation.
Chris is powerful. Chris, I thank you for everything you shared. That really helped me. Thank you for...
Man, this was a great moment. Sometimes God just work.
Yes, he does.
Yes, I love the connection. I love you guys for being here. So you guys helped make our last episode of the season like spot on. I'm very proud of this conversation. And so again, like I said before, everybody, we will be taking our summer vacation because it's time for me to check out, to reevaluate. Yay. That's right. You know what I'm saying? Because guess what? My satisfaction is to do nothing. I want
yes, that's the new sexy. That's what I say. Self-care is a new sexy, baby. What? Self-care is a new sexy.
It is. And I'm going to get all sexified with my self-care. So I want to thank my special guests. You guys are amazing. So please tell our listeners, how can they find out more about you? How can they follow you on social media? Chris, I'll let you start. And Tasha, I'll let you bring it up and end us out with a good bang. Tell us how we can follow you and find out more about you.
For sure. I think I want to leave by just saying do the work. I thought that was the last thing I heard that really stuck with me. And, doing the work is not just doing something on one day. You got to do something consistently, work on yourself, be self-aware. And so you can find me on my blog at chrismance.com. I'm also on like all the social media at Chris Mance or Chris Mance 2 because I'm the second. But my blog is at chrismance.com, and that's what I do. I'm consistent. I write every day about mental skills that deal with happiness and confidence and toughness. And I think ultimately the message I always try to share with my readers and my clients is that message of do the work, be consistent. Whatever it is, if you're working on happiness right now, be consistent with it. Don't just work on it one day and just stop. Man. So you can go to chrismance.com and I'm consistent there, and I want to help people be consistent, whatever it is. Happiness, confidence, mental toughness.
That's right. And that's MANCE, y'all. ChrisMANCE.com. Thank you, Chris. Go ahead, Tasha. Tell us how we can find you, girl.
You can find me on Talk, the number 2, not the word 2, talktotasha.com. I help overextended, heart-centered women stop working herself to death so she can start living her life like it's golden. It's all things self-care, mental self-care, financial self-care, and all of those things. So my goal is to get you, while you online, is I want you to come offline so you can start healing and chilling and show up in your world. And I'm looking forward to even partnering with Chris. I love to see our African-American male leaders because we need more of you guys out there. I'm honored. I thank Dawn for creating this space. I know she's going to have an amazing time with her husband. But yeah, talktotasha.com is all things holistic self-care in a real way. And you guys just give yourself permission to show up for you. You're worthy. We're all walking testimonies here.
Right. I love it. Woo! Y'all go. Woo! I'm so satisfied right now.
I'm satisfied.
I'm satisfied.
Look, I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied.
Thank you all so much. Go out there, everybody, create awesome sauce for yourself and others, and we will see you again in September 2021. Oh.